Alright, so today is 8th of July, September. The big economic announcements or news for today was the FOMC meeting minutes. It looks like it was dovish, so we'll take a look again when we go to the news. The other one was the annual budget release for British Pound by Chancellor George Osborne. Otherwise, there was building permits for Canadian. It's negative, so it should be bad for the currency. But I remember it didn't seem to have affected Canadian dollar much. Today pound was affected. Not sure if it's anything to do with the budget release. Today pound fell down. If you see here, the Halifax house price index is positive, so it should be good for pound, but today pound fell down. Current account for yen, it's good, so this should be good news and strengthen yen. Now, because of the dovish FOMC meeting minutes, that should weaken US dollar. I remember seeing a news where this FOMC member William speaks, and he says there is a possibility of rate rise in 2015, but because of all the crises going around in Greece and China, the likelihood is less, I think. If you look at tomorrow, this could be important for Aussie dollar, the unemployment rate and employment change. Today there didn't seem to have been much movement with the Aussie. And there's tomorrow one consumer price index for Chinese yuan, isn't it? What is the Chinese currency name? Let's see. Chinese yuan. Oh, right. So it's also called Chinese renminbi. So the Chinese currency seems to be called colloquially or informally as yuan, but the actual trade name is renminbi. This could be important tomorrow, and there's official bank rate coming out at 12 o'clock London time. I think this will stay the same because of the crisis in Greece and China. I don't think the Bank of England will increase the rate. Asset purchase facility has been remaining like this for ages. Here there's rate statement and unemployment claims. Now this could be important for dollar because if it's too much, it's bad for dollar. So for a possibility of rate hike to happen, this should go down. Right, now let's take a look at the Financial Times. So today there was another major news where New York Stock Exchange, there was some technical issue and there has been some outage. And from what I've read until now, it looks like it's nothing to do with hacking and stuff, and it's not really a security breakdown, it seems. Another news to note is the US crude prices, oil price is sliding down. As we discussed yesterday, oil is in bear market territory now. Other news are China displaces Greece as main cause for concern. And I remember seeing in the Financial Times, the main homepage, where they have stopped showing the Greece news coverage as a separate section. So which means the crisis in Greece is not as bad now. So the crisis in China is there, the stock market is plunging. This news means the US and UK policy raise, the US Fed rate, the possibility of hiking is there sometime this year, or if not, maybe sometime next year. Looks like US is the only economy with a possibility of rate rise, and maybe UK. Otherwise, if you look at European Union, EU, it's there is quantitative easing, QE, so the rate is not going to rise anytime soon until I think sometime September 2016. Aussie and Kiwi economy is in bad state because of the Chinese economy in bad state, so they will not raise their rate anytime soon. And same thing for Canadian economy as well, because of the plunge in oil price, they will not be raising their rates anytime soon. Now look at this, for example, Fed is watching the global risk on rate rise, so until the global economy seems to stabilize, I don't think Fed will be raising their rates. Anyways, now is July, August, September, so the possibility is of raising in September, so I think that looks unlikely somehow. Another interesting news about the Greek, if Greece happens to leave Euro for some eventually, or if it happens, then it has to have its own currency, drachma, so I think it may not be an easy task. And we have seen something similar news like this yesterday too, where stocks sales and stocks trading has been suspended in the Chinese market. I saw somewhere that the Hang Seng has been falling down for like 5%. So we'll see that when we go to Bloomberg News. Same thing again. So for the heavens, assets are not raising in spite of all the crisis and doom surrounding Greece and China. This guy's comment is to be sometime taken into account. Martin Wolf, he is supposedly a respected economic commentator. So it looks like he doesn't want Greece to leave the euro. Another interesting one, so there is selling for euro, sterling, and commodity currencies, which are Canadian dollar, Aussies, and Kiwi. So the only other currencies, the major currencies which may be appreciating are US dollar and Japanese yen. I haven't bothered much with Swiss franc for months now, since I got hit on 15th of January. I think this is referring to the European stocks. It has been gaining. I think that's it from today's headlines and news in the currency section. Yeah, let's take a look at the home page. See if there. So today there was the major news of Osborne delivering the budget. Interestingly, he cuts the welfare and raises the minimum wage. I think the minimum wage now is around 6 point something pounds an hour. So I wonder up to how much it has been raised. Now these two are diametrically opposite. things to do, which is on the one hand he raised the minimum wage, and on the other hand he is cutting down expenses by the state. There was nothing to be looked at in the bond, so there's no bond selling. I think that's what's important. Currencies we'll take a look later on. Commodities we'll see as well. Indices. This is an example of where the Shanghai stock market is crashing. And otherwise, now this is one interesting news about the Brexit. If there are 2,500 German companies who are employing 500,000 British workers, 500,000 British workers, the chances of Britain leaving UK seems very less somehow. See here, so the New York Stock Exchange trading hold is not a cyber attack. And this news has been going around for a while as well, where the Barclays chief executive Anthony has been fired. Yeah, this news is also coming out now. Microsoft cutting jobs, and it has to write off all the value from the Nokia acquisition. So it looks like after Bill Gates, Microsoft is struggling to have much monopoly on the market. I think that's all from the Financial Times for today around currencies and markets in general. Okay, now let's go and take a look at the Bloomberg news. This is the picture from the New York Stock Exchange suspending trading suspended in all securities. So again, the news about Greece. Apparently, there's some deadline this Sunday. But looks like this is going all right now. Here again, the UK stocks rise after budget. So the budget is good for business in UK. So the European stocks are increasing. It's been gaining in the last 2 days. Now this is a funny story where how would traders rig LIBOR rate for a Mars bar? Interesting. The Chinese stock market plunge again. So here again, so look, so the Hang Seng plunges most. In fact, if we go down, okay, we'll see in the market section. The Hang Seng plunges. It's the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And we saw that the house price index in UK has increased by 1.7%. Interesting about this Bitcoins as a currency, if Greece leaves, or Greece crisis is giving this Bitcoin some significance. And this is an interesting example of how the global economy is interlinked. Oil drops because of the crisis in stock market, crisis plunge in China. This looks like a view from someone who thinks because the Greek voted no, Europe should not help Greece. Another one for the Chinese stock market plunge. This Moscovici is the European Union Economic Affairs Commissioner. I've seen him on other news. His words are important, or his words have weight in the EU political and economical scene. Now another one, a lesson from Greece. Even though the crisis in Greece has been going on, the world has not ended, or there hasn't been any Armageddon. I think that's what it's referring to. So here again, so this is another symbol or proof that the Greece crisis is kind of losing its intensity, or is getting better, because it's committing to repay IMF and it's not kind of angry anymore. So this is the Barclays guy, chief executive, who was fired by the chairman. This had to do with the budget from today by George Osborne. So 10-year treasury bonds is 1.86. So if you look in the Financial Times, UK bond, it's like 1.9 and 2.0% for 10-year bond. It looks like there has been some Italian bond sell-off because of the Greece crisis, but it's again going into buying territory now. The ECB is also willing to help. The Greece is not so stiff. Now the news about the Malaysian Prime Minister Najib, the scam, and the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, they have a reserve fund like International Monetary Fund or World Bank, a separate one for 100 billion. Now this is another news from this Fed FOMC meeting minutes, where it says it's showing optimism around the American economy, but it's also saying that there's concerns about the crisis in Greece, in China, etc. And this is the Fed guy who spoke today, and he's the one who said there's chance of 2015 rate rise. This is another example how the international economy is interlinked. There is crisis in Greece and China, but the US economy is affected. And that's the important ones from the news in general. There are some comments about views, but let's take a look at the markets in general. So today euro dollar gained, dollar yen fell down by more than 1.5%. Gold gained a bit. The crude is still falling. S&P is still falling. Dow Jones is falling. Interesting. Again, the FOMC minutes. This is what I was referring to when the Hang Seng fell by 5%. The Australia Stock Exchange fell by 2% as well. I think all the news would be repetition of what we have seen in Financial Times and the main Bloomberg news. But let's see if there are anything we missed out. Right, so now it looks like the New York Stock Exchange has resumed trading on two markets after hours long halt. The Greece is being friendly now. This is the handwritten note that I was talking about yesterday about the Greek finance minister. I'm not sure what this is referring to. The stock market's worst tips. It's showing United States, but the stock market dip could it be referring to China? Right, now this was a funny news. Apparently this Bill Gross is asset manager or something, and he must have predicted that it's time to short the Chinese market, but he didn't follow up his own tip himself, looks like it. So New York Stock Exchange resumes trading. So this is the one. So Bill Gross missed his own great short China trade recommendation. It's the repeat of the news we saw before. I think that's it from the news and fundamental analysis around the world and currencies and markets for today. Now let's take a look at the charts, shall we? As we discussed, the euro bounced up. In the weekly, it's still below the 5 EMA and 50 EMA, so it's still downtrend. Pound dollar, it fell down today. Not sure if this is to do with the currency with the budget, because or the other possibility is because of the dovish dollar FOMC minutes. But if it's a dovish, if the minutes were considered dovish, dollar should weaken, so pound dollar should go up. This is not the case, so it means pound is falling down for some reason. But in the weekly, I think I said yesterday that it might bounce up from the 20 EMA, but it's around here, so let's see how the next few days pans out. Right, dollar yen, I saw yen strengthened a lot today. So dollar weakened basically. So it could try to reach around the support area of 119.18 yen for a dollar. The weekly it's around the 20 EMA. Sometimes I wonder if this is the beginning of the dollar weakness or end of the dollar bull run. Dollar Canadian hasn't moved much, but I think there's going to be some correction very soon. It has been appreciating. The US dollar has been appreciating against the Canadian dollar for quite a while now. But the fundamental thing going on behind the depreciation of Canadian dollar is the plunge in the oil price. Aussie dollar didn't move much today, but Aussie is moving down or weakening because of the crisis in China. China is a major trading partner for Australia. Same thing with Kiwi. Oh, I noticed that today Kiwi bounced back. It could bounce back up and try to reach the 20 EMA. I don't see any fundamental reason why Kiwi would bounce up or dollar would weaken. Now this may be because of the dovish FOMC minutes, but then it's conflicting with why pound dollar fell down. Okay, let's look at euro yen. So euro yen is still in a downtrend, so it could fall down further, but we saw that euro bounced up today, so if tomorrow as well euro bounced up, then it would stagnate around this for a while. But on the other hand, yen is strengthening, so there's a possibility that it could still fall further. Now if you look in the weekly chart, it has fallen below, it has gone in between 50 EMA and 200 EMA. So it could try to touch the 200 EMA. Pound yen fell down a lot today, around 350 pips. And I think it will try to touch the 200 EMA at least. Euro Canadian, because today euro bounced back, but dollar Canadian didn't move much, so there's some appreciation in euro Canadian pair. I made some money on this today. Pound Canadian, because pound fell down today, so it's falling down, but I'm not sure if this is a minor correction and it will bounce back up again, or this is the beginning of the downtrend for pound Canadian. We will have to wait and watch for the next couple of days, or at least price action to cross, for the 5 EMA to cross below the 20 EMA. Euro Aussie, similar explanation. Euro bounced up today, but Aussie didn't move much, hence the appreciation in Euro Aussie pair. But one interesting thing to note is in the weekly, it seems to have begun to bounce up from 200, 50, 20 and 5. So it could be appreciating for a while. And if you look at the monthly, looks like it was undergoing correction since last year beginning of February, and then it has been stagnating around the 50 EMA, and now it is bouncing up from 50 EMA. Let's see. Pound Aussie, similar explanation. This pound fell down, so this currency pair fell down for a bit as well. We'll have to wait and watch for the next couple of days. And now let's look at Nikkei. Okay. So the Japanese stock market fell down today, is it? Yeah, by 3%. Does this have something to do with dollar yen crashing down today? The Japanese stock market fell down today and the yen appreciated. So normally it seems like if the stock market appreciates, then the currency depreciates and vice versa. So in this case, the stock market plunges and currency strengthens. Other way to look at this is, when stock market is appreciating, there's easy money, easy credit. So it is inflationary for the currency, which means the currency will weaken. And when stock market falls, people are converting their stocks into cash. So in this example of Japanese stock market, people are selling Japanese stocks and converting it into yen, I guess in the first instance. Even if the foreign investor has to take out his money from yen to pound to dollar, he has to first sell the Japanese stock, convert the stocks into Japanese yen. So hence there's demand for Japanese yen, which would lead to the increase in value for the Japanese yen. Okay, if you look at S&P 500, stagnating around the 200 EMA. In the weekly, it seems to be the beginning of a downtrend. UK FTSE was downtrend, so let's see. Okay, it's still in downtrend. It fell down today as well. Oh, really? 6,490. It showed appreciation of 0.91%. So FTSE today appreciated, today increased. So why is it? This is strange. Let's keep track of this for the next few days. Okay, and US dollar still in uptrend. This is very similar to a chart I've seen before, I think about dollar yen. So this may be beginning of a downtrend. Now the crude oil is still falling down. It's in bear territory. And UK oil, so Brent, it looks like there's some correction there. It's not going through a free fall like this for now. Lastly, gold. Gold is stagnating. In spite of all the crisis around the world, people are not buying up gold. Okay, I think that's it for today. We'll come back again tomorrow.